Paul said, my name's Helen. Our company, EP Bitumen, has been selling into Africa almost exclusively for 10 years now. I'm no expert on African markets. I'm certainly no expert on Liverpool, so I can't tick any of those boxes, but I know a bit from the way we've learned, which has generally been the hard way. We're a small company, family-based originally, and we've grown since then. So I just wanted to tell you a little bit about our experiences, what we do, and how we've come to where we are today. So we export bitumen into Africa. Bitumen is the black sticky stuff that you see, not very glamorous, but an essential ingredient in road surfacing. So mixed with aggregate, you'll see in the UK, asphalt being laid all the time. In the UK, we're lucky because we have refineries here that produce bitumen, and we have more than enough for the road demand that we have here. You'll see this is just down the road, Ellesmere Port, that's a Ninas joint venture refinery, and you'll often see the trucks going out to the asphalt plants here. Really easy chain of supply. If somebody needs product, they call up, the next morning they've got it. It's not the case in Africa. As you can see from this map, there's, excluding South Africa, there's one refinery, which is wrong there actually, it should be in Côte d'Ivoire. There's a few in Nigeria, although they're not producing bitumen because the crude there isn't suitable. So in West Africa, they are almost 100% reliant on imports of bitumen. Traditionally, that's by drums. So the bitumen's filled into drums, it's transported to sites, and it's melted there. It's really manual labour trying to get them melted. They're 200 kilos each. They're not great. There's a lot of wastage. Wastage both of the product and the packaging is steel, so it's not great. You can't get rid of it. There's not really facilities within Africa to recycle it and use it again. So we started packaging bitumen in bags to reduce the waste and to increase the amount that you could ship in a container. So we reduced transport costs by about 20%. Oh, a bit fast from here. Keep up. The bags weren't actually our idea. Somebody was already doing it in Europe, and we adapted it slightly. But what we found is that when we were shipping them into sites in Africa, because of the really long transport distances and the bumpy roads and the conditions, when they arrived, they were destroyed. And I mean, literally destroyed. I didn't bring any pictures to show you because there was a few months where it was quite disastrous. So what we did is we, not invented, it's not rocket science, but we put the bag inside a crate. Really simple, but it's made a huge difference. And we're the only exporter in Europe that are doing this. Our typical competitors would be Shell or Total or the big major international oil companies, and they're all using the drums still. So we're the only people who are doing this. What it means is that we can ship into ports in West Africa, and then we can, using a simple forklift, we can unload that product onto trucks and we can take it anywhere we want to take it. What I thought I'd share with you is some of the, not necessarily disasters, but the challenges that we've faced. I've been to a couple of these events before. They're always a little bit different. They're always very positive, and I'm super positive about working in Africa. I wouldn't be anywhere else. I love it, our company loves it, and it's great, but it is challenging. It's not like working in the UK. It has its pluses, it has its minuses. And really what I want to share with you is some of the difficult situations we've faced, but some of the positives that have come from that. So a big turning point for our company was about 3 years ago, or 4 years ago now, 2012. We were supplying a site for Sagir Satom, a French subsidiary, in Mali and Timbuktu. And there was some unrest in the region. A month before, five, who you can see on the right-hand side, 3 French expats, Togolese citizen, and I think the other guy was from Madagascar, were kidnapped, and their site, which was in near Funke in Mali at the time, was overtaken. So they kind of called us up and said, we're in a really bad situation, we need your help, and we need you to stop all the product that's on its way, whether it's set off or it's halfway there or it's almost there, turn it all around and send it all to Niger. Okay, not the easiest thing to do. Why it was an important turning point for us is it set us apart from the multinational companies who simply can't react like that. We're a family company originally, and we said, look, this is a bad time, we'll do everything we can. It took us 4 months, this is my very rudimentary diagram of what we did. All the stock that was at the site was a write-off, that couldn't have been taken back. There was some that had left Dakar in Senegal and gone up by rail into Bamako, which we kind of turned around and sent back. Unfortunately, with the shipping, we couldn't send it straight round to Cotonou. We had to send it all back to Spain because it's the port of transshipment. It all got back there, some 150 containers collected from all over, went into Cotonou, up by road, and further through Niamey. It took about 3.5 months to complete. It was quite a costly and stressful exercise. But what it resulted in is some of the best photos we have of sites anyway. A really successful job in Niger. We went out and visited it. It was really great. They had no complaints at all. And what happened was we formed quite a strategic relationship with them from that point on, recognising that we were flexible. And certainly I think one thing that you have to expect in Africa, or maybe anywhere else, but in my experience, is expect the unexpected, because there's always something happening. But something that personally I found working in Africa that I don't really find in the UK is everybody's adaptable, everyone's flexible. There's a real spirit of, yes, we can do that, let's find a way to do it. And I think that our customers respected that we went along with that, rather than sometimes in the UK, I feel the answer to everything is no. No, we have a policy. No, we have a procedure. No, we can't do that. The computer says no. Whereas when we're working with the guys in Africa, it's more like, yes, we've got a problem. We get problems every day. How can we solve that problem? Logistics is a really important part of our business. In fact, arguably more important than the product that we sell. Because of the distances that are being covered, often 50% of the selling price is made up with logistical cost. This is our logistics team in Spain, supervising some of the loadings. You'll see next a picture of it all being very pretty, getting on the boat in Cartagena, and it's all very nice when it sets off. Then it arrives in Douala port in Cameroon, and these are the conditions that they're working with there in the rainy season. This was 2014. There are guys out there in the agency. They sent us that photo to, I think they thought that we didn't believe them really. The containers were stuck there for 3 weeks, and it was a really difficult time for them because they couldn't do anything. There's nothing you can do when it's like that other than to wait. We work really closely with our logistics people in the ports. We try to have an attitude of cooperation all the time. Something that we really drum into our people in the UK and Spain is that our way isn't always the best way. It's really easy to think, oh, we do it this way, so this must be the best way. And it's just not like that. Similarly, at the other side, perhaps the way it's being done isn't the best way, but often we can meet somewhere in the middle and find a solution. So we do have to work really closely with the logistics guys there. This is just an example of one of the furthest sites we went to in Umhajar in Chad. It's about 3,000 kilometres from the port to the site. This is an accident that happened with our drums. It looks terrible, but actually the driver walked away from it fine. I don't know how. When I got those photos, it was a real shock. And actually one of the worst things was they sent the photos and didn't tell us that the driver was okay, because they thought all we cared about was the fact that we needed an insurance claim. I was really upset about it because all I could think about was what's happened to the driver. I mean, it looks terrible, but he was fine. Actually, it was a success story in the end. The agents sent some guys out there to clear up, to load all the drums back on. We worked with them on guidelines of how they could be transported in the future so that it was safer. We can't ever really get around the fact that the road safety on that stretch isn't as good as it should be. That's not something we can change overnight, but we're working with the guys there to find solutions so that accidents like that don't happen, because it could have been a lot worse. Ironically, it ended up being one of our best case studies because only 2 drums were damaged. So our argument was, it must be pretty good packaging if it can go through that and it can still go onto the site. Just a little bit about other business that we've recently developed. We were approached some time ago by Q8 Oils for distributing their lubricants. They didn't have a representative in West Africa. They knew that we were working there and that we had a lot of clients in road construction who also need lubricants, greases and oils. We found a partner in Cotonou, Benin, Boris, who's on this photo. This is when we signed the contract. It's important for us because it's the first time that we've actually set up a company locally in West Africa. So we have a joint venture with Boris established in Cotonou, Benin. We have a warehouse there and a team of people. Sorry, this isn't the team of the last people who work for us. They look a bit miserable. They're normally quite happy. They're not doing this under duress or anything. Great team of people we've got there. It's taken us a while to get everything set up and get going. It was 2014 we started, but 2016 has been a real positive year for us. We recently held a training event for the local garage owners who were the retailers of the products. We did some training and certification. It went really well. So it's exciting for us because it's one thing to be here and to export and to communicate by email and visit the sites, but it's another thing, to us anyway, to really be there, to put our money where our mouth is, to establish a company there and to hold stock in Benin, which is so far turned into a real success story. Briefly, some of the other things that we're working on. In Europe, there's roughly 35 different grades of bitumen that are used. I won't tell you about it, it's boring as hell, I love it. But you can imagine that building a road and building a railway or an airport, all different requirements technically. In Africa, 1, maybe 2 grades are used. And it's just, sorry, with the exception of Ghana, who are quite ahead with that. For us, it's just not right. We can't understand it. We can't, for us small people in our company, we can't see why is it that these big companies are selling what really is inadequate product into the market. So we're working really hard to promote the idea that these products should be used, they should be used in the right applications. It's not good enough just to sell standard products. It doesn't make any sense. If we wouldn't have it here, why would you have it anywhere else? Sometimes it's a bit of a fruitless task, and it's frustrating because people don't always want to listen to us. But we're making some progress on it. New technologies, we're really trying to, well, not new, we're really trying to introduce technologies that have been around in Europe for a long time that offer low-cost, effective ways of maintenance as opposed to huge spending on roads, which isn't always necessary. It looks impressive when people get a huge budget and they start spending millions here, there and everywhere. It may look good for the press, but you know, really what we're trying to promote is if you have X amount of money, why do 100 kilometres when you can do 1,000 and get a really great quality? So that's something we're working on as well. In general, what can I say? Africa's a real success story for us. It's at least 98% of our business. We've seen growth in the last 5 years. We've definitely seen a lot more competition. Ironically, I don't know if it's because people think that Africa's such a great opportunity or they're so panicked by Europe that they're just looking for anywhere that they can get out. Certainly in our business, the big companies that were quite happy sat back doing work in Europe have suddenly thought, wait a minute, post-recession, we need to get out there, and they've started to look at Africa as another opportunity. Unfortunately for us, because we were quite happy sat there on our own. But we've seen growth every year. We still continue to see growth. We hope to be in at least 2 more countries by the end of this year. And in general, it's been a success. Every day is a challenge. Every day there's something different. I can't say whether it would be that case in the UK or not, because I don't work in the UK. But in the end, it's really rewarding, and it's a fantastic opportunity for anyone. I don't know if there's anyone in the room who's maybe thinking about it and they're not sure, but certainly I would say there's a huge amount of opportunity. And as long as you can be flexible in your thinking, something that maybe we've lost here a little bit. You see lots of events promoting entrepreneurship, free thinking. We've got a lot to learn from Africa, because they're doing it, they're living it. You know, and maybe if we take a bit of a note from that, there's a lot of opportunity there to be had. So thank you for listening.